So who would ever choose to have their lives go upside down? Well, the simple answer is those of us who have back pain, who know exactly what this is, an inversion table. A friend of mine, a dear friend, has let me borrow his because, as some of you know, I'm suffering from some lower back pain. There's something messed up, and I'm trying to address it by turning my life upside down, by relieving some of the pressure that's on my spine and seeing if that will help, because nothing else seems to. So what's the point? Why am I sharing this with you? Well, because on Sunday, we talked all about a people, Israel, who had their lives turned upside down and what is called Massa, a place of testing, and that their response was so often Meribah, to complain, to argue, to grumble, right? And the result of that was not the life that they wanted, because they thought that every time they were in a situation, like for instance in Exodus 17, where there was no water and they're in the middle of the wilderness, they thought it was a test of God. God, are you going to be faithful? God was the one on the dock. God was the one being tested. When in reality, God is the one who said, in those situations, you're the one being tested, and not in a sense of, hey, are you going to pass or are you going to fail? But I'm putting you in a place to test your faith. Are you going to believe? Is your faith going to be galvanized so that you can be stronger for each and every next test? Do you see the difference? So often when we find ourselves in a place where our lives are turned upside down and it hurts and it's painful, we often think God's the one who's being tested right now in our own hearts and our minds. Are you going to pass the test? And so we go through that entire episode looking and waiting for God to prove himself. And we miss God. What we talked about on Sunday is the notion that Psalm 95 captures as the psalmist sings of God's faithfulness that the Israelites experienced in Exodus 17, in Massa. That instead of Meribah, the answer is to precede the suffering with praise. To have our lives be so resonating with the praise of God, remembering the things that he has done, the amazing ways that he has provided for us, that when we then find ourselves in the time of testing, the Massa, we're able to actually praise and experience God's power, God's presence, God's provision in a way that we would have missed otherwise if we were simply waiting for him to act in a way that we wanted him to provide the thing that we wanted when we wanted, and it never comes that way. Friends, as we're beginning the school year, as many of us are coming back to work and going back into the office for the first time since COVID, and as we're entering into this new season, this fall season, what are the things that are outside of your control, where it feels like your life is being turned upside down and where you're tempted to think, God, are you going to provide? Are you going to show up? This is your test. Prove yourself, God. And the entire time God is saying, no, this is not my test. I am who I am. This is the opportunity you have to experience me differently, to not Meribah, to not complain and grumble, but instead to sing his praises even before you get into that place. And if you find yourself in that place, to begin singing now. I know who you are. I know what you've done. And as I enter into his courts with thanksgiving and praise, as I come into his presence and there find him, what I'm also going to find is the Massa, the ways that my life has been turned upside down. It's kind of like this inversion table. Yeah, it hurts a little bit. But you know what? It's for my good. And it's going to strengthen my back by God's grace. And it's going to help heal the places that hurt the most, even when I can't understand it, even when I don't like it. Where is that for you today? Where is that for you this week? My prayer is that you're going to see God move with power as you choose praise and not grumbling, not Meribah, praise in the place of Massa, testing, even this week, even this day. Hey, it's Wednesday, friends. It's Wednesday, and maybe some of you are watching this on Thursday, which means we're already halfway to the weekend. Even that is reason for praise. But friends, may you find God faithful. May you find him close. May you find him able as you choose praise even tonight, even this week. God be with you.